You think you know what the Earth looked like 400 million years ago. You're probably picturing lush, ancient forests, teeming with early plants. Right. Well, you've been lied to. For a staggering 40 million years, a period longer than the time separating us from the T-Rex, the tallest structures on land weren't trees at all. They were colossal, 2-story tall spikes, thicker than a car, erupting from the ground. Many scientists believe these weren't weird ancient plants, but Prototaxites. Essentially, mushrooms on steroids that literally ruled the world. These mind-bending organisms are just one example of how utterly bizarre prehistoric Earth truly was. Get ready, because the truth about our planet's past is far stranger than any fiction you've imagined. But hold on to your hats, because we're just getting started with the sheer absurdity of prehistoric life kicking off our list of nature's weirdest creations. At number 10, we have the Helicoprion subsec. Imagine this. You're swimming in an ancient ocean, let's say about 290 million years ago. Everything's pretty chill until you spot what looks like a normal shark. But as it glides closer, you squint. Wait, what is that? This isn't just a shark. This thing has what looks like a literal, full-on circular saw blade where its teeth should be. It was like nature decided to combine a shark with a power tool. Pretty wild, Yalabati. Right, when scientists first stumbled upon fossils of this absolute dental nightmare, they were completely baffled. They had no idea where on earth this incredible spiral of teeth belonged. Some thought its nose, like some ancient, angry unicorn. Others even suggested it was on its dorsal fin. It took 100 years for them to finally crack the code. This bizarre dental apparatus was actually in its lower jaw. Imagine that puzzle taking a century to solve. And these weren't just ordinary teeth that would fall out and get replaced like modern sharks. Oh no, Helicoprion's teeth just kept growing and growing, coiling inward like a perpetual spiral, eventually forming a tooth whirl that could get up to 3 feet wide. Imagine teeth that never fell out, just continuously spiraling deeper into your mouth while new ones emerged. Pure nightmare fuel. And the creature itself, scientists believe it could grow up to a colossal 40 feet long. That's longer than a school bus. Armed with that monstrous mouth, nobody has definitively figured out exactly how this built-in buzzsaw was used. Some theorize when it bit down, the spiral rotated backward, shredding prey and pulling it deeper into its throat like a living garbage disposal. What's even crazier is that this thing wasn't some fragile oddity. It actually survived the biggest mass extinction event in Earth's history, the one that wiped out a staggering 95% of all marine species. The world was literally ending, yet Helicoprion was still cruising around with its face chainsaw. But eventually, even this prehistoric rebel disappeared, leaving us with fossils and the mystery of how something so absurd could have existed. Speaking of creatures that made scientists question reality, let's dive into number 9, Opabinia. Get this, when scientists first presented the fossil of Opabinia at a conference back in 1972, the entire audience just burst out laughing. No joke, they literally thought it was a prank, a hilarious fabrication. But guess what? This bizarre little guy was absolutely real, swimming around some 500 million years ago. And it was tiny, too, roughly the size of your thumb. So, what made it so laughably strange? Well, picture this. It had 5 eyes, not 2, but 5, all perched on stalks, popping out of its head like some alien periscope scanning the ancient seabed. And that's not even the weirdest part. Sticking out from its face was a long, bendy trunk, kind of like an elephant's trunk, but instead of just a nostril at the end, it had a sharp, grasping claw. Seriously, imagine a vacuum cleaner attachment from your wildest nightmares, ready to snatch something. But wait, there's more. Its mouth wasn't where you'd expect it. Oh no, Opabinia's mouth was located on its belly and faced backwards. It's like evolution was playing a game of mix and match with animal body parts and just threw logic out the window. Scientists reckon it would use that creepy trunk claw to grab its prey, then cleverly pass it underneath its body to its backward-facing mouth. Try imagining eating a sandwich by grabbing it with your nose and then shoving it under your chin. Sounds pretty awkward. Right. What truly baffles researchers is that we haven't found anything else quite like it. No close relatives, no direct ancestors, Nothing that looks even remotely similar. It's almost as if Opabinia just magically appeared, did its weird thing for millions of years, and then vanished without leaving any family behind. While some scientists ponder a distant relation to modern arthropods like crabs and spiders, others firmly believe it's a category of its own. This wasn't just a quick, one-off mutation that fizzled out. These five-eyed, vacuum-nosed wonders were thriving in the oceans for millions and millions of years. Talk about being unique. Speaking of unique creatures that thrived against all odds, let's move on to number 8, Therizinosaurus. So Paino, imagine you're strolling through a prehistoric salad bar. Yes, a salad bar, and you suddenly see someone pull out not one, but 3-foot-long katanas just to chop their lettuce. Sounds absurd, right? Well, that's essentially what Therizinosaurus was like. This dinosaur, believe it or not, was a vegetarian, yet it sported the longest claws of any animal that ever existed. We're talking claws that were longer than an average 7-year-old's entire arm. Scientists are still scratching their heads over why a plant eater needed such terrifying weaponry. It's like showing up to a peaceful protest wearing full riot gear, completely overkill for its diet. These claws were seriously impressive, curved, razor sharp, and probably capable of slicing right through a car door if cars existed back then. But here's the kicker, this gentle giant wasn't using these formidable weapons for hunting. It's like having Wolverine's adamantium claws, but only ever employing them to delicately pick flowers. So, what were they for? The theories are as wild as the claws themselves. Some scientists suggest they were for defense, serving as a built-in set of samurai swords against predators. Others think they might have been used to pull down high branches, making tall foliage accessible for snacking. And then there's the more flamboyant theory perhaps those massive claws were for showing off to potential mates, much like a peacock's elaborate feathers, but way more that are metal. And don't picture some dainty dinosaur. Therizinosaurus was anything but. It was roughly the size of a T-Rex, but with a rather prominent potbelly and a surprisingly tiny head. Picture a sumo wrestler, complete with Edward Scissorhands for hands, whose diet consists solely of salad. It really is like bringing a knife to a gunfight, except the knife is made of pure muscle and bone, and you're not even planning to fight, just eat greens. Scientists are definitely still debating this one, making it another fascinating prehistoric puzzle. Speaking of confusing creatures that left scientists completely stumped, let's dive into number 7, Hallucigenia. Imagine finding a fossil, and it's so utterly bizarre that when scientists first unearthed Hallucigenia in 1977, they were so perplexed they spent decades reconstructing it completely upside down. It's like discovering a cat fossil and spending 20 years convinced it walked on its ears. The creature was so out there that the scientist who named it chose Hallucigenia because it truly seemed like something plucked from a dreamlike fantasy. Initially, they thought its legs were defensive spikes, and its spikes were actually its legs. To add to the confusion, they couldn't even figure out which end was its head, but when they finally managed to put all the pieces together the right way up, they uncovered something truly nightmare-inducing. This creature had a ring of needle-like teeth inside its throat. Picture a garden hose, but with a circular saw blade lining its interior. Whatever went in definitely wasn't coming back out. This incredible creature lived during the Cambrian period, about 58 million years ago. This era was essentially nature's wild experimental phase, much like when you first discover photo filters and go completely overboard with them. We still have no clear idea what this thing eventually evolved into, though some scientists theorize it might be distantly related to modern velvet worms. It's truly like finding a piece of technology from an alien civilization and having absolutely no clue what it does. Hallucigenia remains a head-scratcher, a testament to how truly weird prehistoric life could get. Next up, defying all known rules of biology and sending paleontologists into a perpetual state of head-scratching, we have number 5, Arthropleura, nature's cheat code millipede. Imagine encountering a prehistoric millipede that grew up to a staggering 8.5 feet long. That's right. Longer than your average living room couch, this monstrous bug roamed the earth 300 million years ago, and scientists still can't quite wrap their heads around how it even managed to exist. You see, modern insects can't get very big because of how they breathe. They don't have lungs, Instead, they respire through tiny holes in their bodies, a system that simply isn't efficient enough for truly massive creatures, as oxygen wouldn't be able to reach all their cells. The prevailing theory is that Arthropleura could grow so enormous because the air back then had significantly more oxygen, about 31% compared to our current 21%. But here's the kicker: even with that extra oxygen, the basic physics of insect breathing still shouldn't have allowed for something this massive. It's like nature decided to just completely ignore its own rulebook, adding to the mystery. For nearly 200 years, no one could find a complete head fossil. It was like a 300-million-year-old murder mystery where someone had deliberately stolen all the heads. However, scientists recently uncovered head fragments, revealing that this creature had surprisingly powerful mandibles. This discovery suggests that Arthropleura wasn't just a docile decomposer munching on dead plants like modern millipedes. It was probably actively hunting other creatures. Can you picture an 8-foot-long armored bug chasing you down, terrifying? These incredible creatures survived for millions of years, yet we still don't know what eventually caused their disappearance, leaving us with another fascinating prehistoric puzzle. Next up on our tour of Earth's most peculiar ancient residents, we have Number 6, Tanystropheus, nature's pool noodle on steroids. Imagine a reptile about the size of a small car. Pretty normal. Right now, picture that same reptile with a neck 3 times longer than its entire body. That's Tanystropheus, often dubbed the animal with the impossible neck. When scientists first stumbled upon its fossils, they were so confused they actually thought they were looking at fragments from several different animals mixed together. Seriously, its neck was just that long and weird. This isn't like a graceful swan or a tall giraffe bending its neck around. Tanystropheus's neck only had 13 vertebrae. Yes, just 13, but each one was stretched out to an absurd length, making the whole thing super stiff. Think of it like trying to move around with a very long, rigid pool noodle attached to your head. That's essentially what this creature was doing all day. Scientists even had to use sophisticated computer models to figure out how this thing could possibly move without snapping its own neck, and guess what they found? If it tried to lift its head too high while on land, its neck would literally break. Ouch. So, it probably spent most of its life in the water. Its incredibly long neck likely functioned like a natural snorkel, allowing it to hide its body behind rocks or vegetation while just sticking its head out to ambush unsuspecting fish. Picture the world's longest, scaliest fishing rod silently waiting for its prey. Pretty ingenious, but also incredibly bizarre. Right. What makes Tanystropheus even more fascinating is that we have absolutely no living animals today that share anything close to its unique body plan. It was truly one of evolution's one-hit wonders, a design so audacious and specialized that it appeared, thrived for a time, and then vanished, leaving us with only its strange legacy and endless questions. Next up on our journey through Earth's most baffling ancient inhabitants, we arrive at Number 7, Dickinsonia, the giant quilted pancake that might be your great-grandpa. Imagine this about 558 million years ago. As you're exploring the ancient seafloor, you spot a creature that looks exactly like someone stepped on a giant, quilted pancake. That, my friends, is Dickinsonia. It was oval-shaped, kind of like a bathroom mat, complete with distinct ribs running through its body, and it could grow up to a massive 4 feet long. That's over a meter. Get this, scientists still can't even agree on what kingdom this thing belongs to. Some argue they were early animals, others believe they were fungi, and a few even think they were something else entirely. A whole new branch of life we don't fully understand. But here's what we do know: they could definitely move. We have evidence because they left clear tracks in the ancient mud, like a giant, ribbed pancake slowly sliding around the ocean floor. And their eating habits, totally bizarre. They had no recognizable mouths or guts that we can identify. Instead, the theory is they'd simply park themselves on top of bacterial mats and absorb all the nutrients directly through their entire body. It's like lying face down on a plate of food and just soaking it all in through your skin. Talk about an efficient, if not slightly strange, way to eat. But here's where it gets really wild. Recently, scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. They found actual cholesterol molecules in a Dickinsonia fossil. Finding cholesterol in something this ancient is like finding a perfectly preserved smartphone in a dinosaur fossil. It's a huge deal. Why? Because cholesterol is a hallmark of animal life. So, these flat pancake-like creatures might actually be our most ancient animal ancestors. Think about that for a second. It's like finding out your great-great-great-great-grandfather was a living, moving bathroom mat. Dickinsonia truly pushes the boundaries of what we thought early life could look like, leaving us with a creature that defies easy categorization and reshapes our understanding of where we came from. If Dickinsonia made you question your family tree, then prepare for number 3, Prototaxites, the giant prehistoric fungus that was taller than your house. Imagine this, you're taking a stroll through a forest 400 million years ago, but there are no majestic trees, no rustling bushes, just colossal spikes bursting out of the ground. These aren't just big, they're like something out of a sci-fi movie, as tall as a 2-story house and as thick as a car. These magnificent structures are known as Prototaxites. Now, your first thought might be, wow, ancient plants. But here's the kicker, scientists actually believe these were probably fungi. Yes, you heard that right. Essentially, mushrooms on steroids. Imagine a single mushroom towering over your entire house. The sheer scale is mind-boggling, and honestly, scientists still can't quite agree on what these things truly were. Some lean towards fungi, others suggest they were giant algae towers, and some even believe they were something else entirely, a unique form of life that defies our current categories. Under a microscope, these bizarre giants look like countless tubes twisted intricately together, almost as if someone had braided thousands of drinking straws into one massive column. But these weren't just empty tubes, they were living tissue, growing up to an astounding 25 feet tall. And get this, they dominated Earth's land for a staggering 40 million years. That's a longer stretch of time than separates us from the T-Rex. You can find their fossils on every continent except Antarctica, proving their widespread reign. Before Prototaxites, life on land was pretty rudimentary, mostly just bacteria and algae, so in a way, life went straight from microscopic organisms to what looks like abstract art overnight. Then, just as mysteriously as they appeared, they vanished. Nobody, not a single scientist, knows why these colossal whatever they were simply disappeared, leaving us with another profound prehistoric puzzle. If those colossal, house-sized fungi weren't enough to make you scratch your head, get ready for number 2, Sharovipteryx, the rebel reptile that broke all the rules of flight. Imagine you're designing a flying creature, you'd probably put the main wings on its arms, right like a bird or a bat. Well, Sharovipteryx apparently missed that memo. This prehistoric reptile, which soared through the skies about 230 million years ago, had its main wings in all the wrong places, specifically on its long back legs. Seriously, picture someone strapping a hang glider to their feet and trying to fly. That's essentially what this thing did. The weirdest part. According to everything we know about how flight works, this creature shouldn't have been able to fly. It defies the laws of aerodynamics, yet this little rebel somehow pulled it off. Scientists, completely stumped, have spent countless hours trying to recreate its flight using computer models and even wind tunnels. Every single time, they just end up scratching their heads in confusion. The closest comparison they could come up with was a modern delta wing aircraft, but even that doesn't quite capture the sheer absurdity of Sharovipteryx's design. To add another layer of weirdness, this animal also had tiny membranes on its front limbs, almost like mini wings. Scientists theorize these might have acted like canards on fighter jets, those small forward wings that help with stability. But here's the kicker, we've never, ever seen another animal use this bizarre combination of huge leg wings and tiny arm wings for flight. By all scientific accounts, Sharovipteryx should have tumbled through the air like a paper airplane made by a clumsy toddler. Yet, fossil evidence strongly suggests it was actually a pretty decent glider. It's truly one of evolution's greatest unsolved puzzles, proving that sometimes nature just likes to experiment in the most unexpected ways. If Sharovipteryx was nature's rebellious pilot, then for our grand finale, prepare yourself for number 1, the unclassifiable Tully Monster, a creature so bizarre it practically trolls paleontologists from beyond the grave. For over 60 years, scientists have been locked in a passionate debate about this ultimate prehistoric puzzle. Imagine this swimming in what is now Illinois about 310 million years ago was a creature with eyes on stalks like a snail, a long trunk ending in a clawed mouth like an alien elephant, and a body shaped like a submarine. Honestly, It's like nature decided to get drunk and just started randomly mixing animal parts. It's so iconic, it's the Illinois State Fossil, and thousands of these fossils have been found. Yet, scientists are completely stumped on what kind of animal it actually was. Some argue it was a vertebrate, with a primitive backbone like ours. Others are convinced it was an invertebrate, more like a snail or squid. Some even think it's its own unique thing entirely. Those eyes weren't just on stalks, they were perched on a rigid bar sticking straight out from both sides of its body. Can you imagine having your eyes on a literal dumbbell piercing your head? Now picture being hunted by something that looks like it was designed by a committee of drunk aliens. Scientists have thrown every trick in the book at it: X-rays, chemical analyses, 3D scanners, but the science world is still completely boggled. The Tully Monster is living proof that sometimes reality is far stranger and more imaginative than anything we could ever possibly dream up. So, pretty wild, right? It's always a trip to uncover the unexpected truths hiding in plain sight, making you look at the world a little differently. Makes you wonder what else we don't know. Which fact surprised you the most? Stay curious. See ya.